This review is brought to you by Red Ribbon Reviewers, a site where we reviewers give our love and support for AIDS. And this year we are supporting the Trevor Project. Give them a look and donate to them. Any support you give to them will be greatly appreciated.
I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding. Oh, bring us some figgy pudding and bring it out here. We won't go until we got some. We won't go until we got some. We won't go until we got some. So bring some out here.
Merry Christmas, my viewers. I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache. And today's review is a movie request courtesy of Jeff Jeffers, who asked me to review the film It Happened on Fifth Avenue. And this review has been quite a long time coming. He's been requesting that I cover this film for quite some time now. So I want to dedicate this review to you, Jeff Jeffers, and your family, hoping you all a Merry Christmas. So, let's go down Fifth Avenue. While a rich businessman named Mike O'Connor resonates in Virginia at his townhouse, in New York City, a drifter named Max McKeever stays at his luxurious mansion, and he invites Jim over, who happens to be an unemployed veteran who got evicted from his own building by O'Connor. He invites him over, but when O'Connor's daughter, Trudy, shows up as well, she falls for Jim and tries to help both of them. So, what do I think of It Happened on Fifth Avenue? Well, I like it. It is a really feel-good Christmas movie and is very underrated. This movie is just joyful. It will lift you up in the air by the end. The film was originally going to be directed by Frank Capra. He was too dedicated to directing It's a Wonderful Life, so they ended up getting the next best thing with Roy D. LaRue, who has quite the filmography, including Gold Diggers of Broadway, Blonde Crazy, the original Maltese Falcon, Blessed Event, Little Giant, as well as Broadway Melody of 1936 and Broadway Melody of 1938, Topper's Return, DeBerry Was a Lady, and The Alligator People. The film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Story, but ultimately lost to A Miracle on 34th Street. The film was distributed by Monograph Pictures, who are also the company responsible for the East Side Kids and would later go on to be called Ally Artists. The film was advertised by Orson Welles and Al Jolson and Constance Bennett. And when the film was finally released, it got great reviews from the New York Post and Time magazine, and even Bosley Crowder literally praised it to high heaven. The opening has some of the best visual storytelling I've ever seen. You know just what you need to know in the first couple of minutes, and the movie gives you all this story without having the main characters speak a word. I gotta say that seeking shelter in an abandoned old mansion is an ingenious idea. In fact, the whole premise is ingenious. Just the idea of a drifter hanging around a millionaire's mansion while he isn't at home is a great idea for a movie. It calls into question, what would you do if you had an entire millionaire's house all to yourself? And what would you do with it? So the film goes along at a really great pace. It's neither fast nor is it slow. But we go from the drifter named Max McKeever to Jim being evicted to seeing Trudy sneaking into the house to his friends being invited. The more and more guests come into the house, the more you get to know them, and they feel like old friends to you, and you're right there alongside them. Let's talk about some of the characters, starting with the main one, Mr. McKeever, which even though he's obviously a moocher and is living in someone else's place, he has good morals and good values and good manners. He's played by the wonderful Victor Moore, who also was a millionaire in Gold Diggers of 1937. He plays the character with such a warm-hearted mentality, but can also be pretty funny as well. As Mr. McKeever and Mike O'Connor end up sharing the same roof together without Mr. McKeever knowing it, and both of them have a pretty funny on and off thing going where they argue like a married couple, but in the end it's Mr. McKeever that makes Mike O'Connor a better man. And then there's Jim, who happens to be a former army guy who is a smart aleck, quite jokey, and is the life of the party. He's fun to be around and to actually watch. Then we get to see Jim's army buddies and their families, and they're trying to get into an apartment. One problem, the apartment doesn't allow kids. Number two, their landlord is Charles Lang, aka Mr. Bedlow from Petticoat Junction, and we get to see what the members of the Shady Rest Hotel would want to do with Mr. Bedlow. Put him on his head. There really isn't much to say about Jim's army buddies other than one of Jim's army buddies is played by Alan Hell Jr., who would later go on to play the skipper on Gilligan's Island.
You've really done a fine job. Put her there, pal.
Next, there's Trudy, played by Gail Storm, who also appeared alongside the Three Stooges in Swing Parade. Trudy has escaped her prim and proper prison and is going on an adventure living the life of Riley. She's finally able to shed her skin and be herself without being worried that she's only being liked because daddy's got the dough. And Gail Storm gives a really great performance dramatically as this character as well. She really makes you believe that Trudy is a character who is devastated that her father and her mother split up. And then there's Mike O'Connor, who I'm just going to refer to as Mike for the rest of this review. He's played by Charles Ruggles. He plays a game of disguisey, pretending that he is a homeless old man, when in reality he's the richest man in the world. He gets fed up with the charade, and Trudy decides to bring in the big guns and go to Mommy, aka her mother Mary. And Mommy/Mary comes to her rescue in a jiffy, pretending to be the house cook. And when she takes off those Palm Spring clothes and puts on some raggedy-ass home wife clothes, the magic starts to happen as Mike starts to change, and you are there from that point forward. The film holds your hand the rest of the way. The music was done by Harry Revel, who has quite the talent in composing music for quite a lot of Golden Age movies. First song in the movie, and the song that ends up getting a reprise, is the song It's a Wonderful Feeling.
Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. I've never felt this way before. Lady Luck is going to come my way. Something fate has in store. With the blue sky above for a ceiling, my feet hardly touching the floor. I feel so happy the whole day long. Feel like bursting right out in song. There's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. I've never felt this way before. Lady Luck is going to come my way. Something fate has in store. With the blue sky above for a ceiling, my feet hardly touching the floor. I feel so happy the whole day long. Feel like bursting right out in song. There's a rainbow around my heart and it fits me like a glove. Feels so marvelous, feels so wonderful, all the world's in love.
Other song, which is sung by Gail Storm, is That's What Christmas Means to Me.
Holly wreaths and mistletoe, a great big Christmas tree, a winter's day with lots of snow, that's what Christmas means to me.
Just sitting by the fireside, as warm as we can be, with all our loved ones by our side, that's what Christmas means to me.
I highly recommend this film, even if you aren't a person who doesn't like black and white films. This Christmas film will get you in a good feeling. And given the kind of year we've went through, I feel like we all deserve to feel good. So I'm going to end this review in a tight bow with 5 gold stars. That's all I have to say about It Happened on Fifth Avenue. Well, until the next review, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, signing off.